Man.
What's going on, bro?
How you doing? Not great, man. I guess I just got this PS5. I've been gaming for a while now,
Right.
and I don't know. I don't feel like I'm getting the immersive experience that I should be getting.
Well, have you ever tried getting surround sounds?
Let's do this. Welcome to today's episode, everybody.
And today we're going to talk about the ultimate guide to the Sonos surround sound setups.
Yeah, it's awesome, Ralph. We're going to actually divide this video up into 3 different parts. So the first part is talking about why the benefit of having a surround sound system in general. The second one is the actual products that you can get from Sonos that you can use as surround sound speakers. And then the last one is just basically like surround sound best practices, any other tips and some guides and walkthroughs specifically for the Sonos speakers. Ralph, I guess let's start with the first part here.
Okay.
But why would somebody want to have surround sound speakers in their home theater setup?
Well, first of all, though, do you want to get the feeling of like surround sound? Basically, how do I explain it? Let's say when you're watching a movie, okay, and you want to feel something behind you, like coming at you from behind you and going through the whole scene. That's what surround sound is all about. You're getting that atmospheric sound from just like behind you to the side of you and so on. You know what I mean? That's the whole purpose of surround sound. So why don't you just give us a rundown on the surround sound systems that go with Sonos?
One thing I do want to note to our viewers, we're not going to talk about older products. Today, what I really want to do is focus on ones that are available in stores today, like brand new, off-the-shelf type of products. Otherwise, this could be a very long video, and I don't want to overwhelm you. So I really want to just get into more of the newer products that are out there. So the first lineup, Ralph, is actually the IKEA Symfonisk speakers. Pretty much any of their speakers will work as surround sound speakers. So their lamps will work, their bookshelves that they make, and the picture frame, which is available. So if you're looking at maybe a cheaper option to the Sonos surround sound system and you're on a tight budget, that's probably where I would go to start out with. And really, it just comes down to like what makes the most sense for your environment, right? For example, the lamps might work really well if you want to make that more aesthetically hidden and you need the lighting, and in addition you need a surround sound system. So that definitely does work. The picture frames are also another great alternative for somebody who's looking for maybe that in-wall aesthetic, but you don't want to put holes in your walls and don't want to run wires through the walls. Maybe that's just too expensive an option. That's where the picture frame would be great. And then the bookshelf is, I think, the cheapest available option you can go with for Sonos surround sound. Then the second group I would put them in is going to be more of your in-wall or in-ceiling setup. So right now, Sonos has partnered with another company called Sonance, and Sonance makes a couple of products that will work in the Sonos setup. This does require that you get the amp to make it work because they need their own power source.
Yes.
So that means that's going to be a more expensive option as far as installation. And the reason why I bring up just those few speakers from Sonance is because those will still work with TruePlay. I know that's very important for a lot of people, is to have that functionality of that auto tuning feature.
Yeah.
So please keep that in mind, that a lot of these products that we're talking about also work on the TruePlay ecosystem. You could definitely go with your own in-wall or in-ceiling speakers, but TruePlay won't work. And we'll make sure that we put all this in the description of the video of which ones you need to get if you want to keep that auto-tuning feature. All right, Ralph. So now we're actually going to get into the actual Sonos branded products.
Nice.
There are a few options that anybody can go with. The most affordable, and it's actually a recent upgrade of the ones, is the Era 100s. They're a better speaker overall because they actually have an extra tweeter. So you actually get more drivers from that speaker. And since it's newer, you don't have to worry about them being discontinued anytime soon. If you're concerned about that with the ones, because they've been out for a long time, and in the next year we'll probably start to see that the ones are going to be phased out entirely, and the Era 100s are going to be the lower line speakers or entry point speakers. So if you're worried about something like that, I would go with the 100s. The next one is going to be the Era 300s, and this is a beast of a speaker. This is Sonos's Atmos speaker, so it actually has a bunch of drivers and includes upward firing drivers as well. In a surround sound system, this is going to be great. Yeah, the thing to keep in mind too, Ralph, about the Era 300s, if you are going to use them as a surround sound setup, you can only use them with Atmos if they're paired with the Arc or the Beam Gen 2. So if you try to connect them to like a Ray or maybe an older Beam or a different soundbar, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the Atmos. But now I want to get into the third part of the video, which is talking about just kind of best practices, tutorials, and tips of surround sound. So let me ask you this, Ralph. For placement of speakers, what would be ideal for surround sound?
So for surround sounds, just make sure they're about 2 feet or 3 feet above the listening height. Now, when you get into more speakers in Atmos, actually you want to bring those surrounds down a little bit more. The reason why is because it'll obstruct the Atmos channels above you, and you won't get that height feeling.
Yeah, that's good that you brought that up, because the one thing I wanted to mention to you is when I first bought the Arc, and I was looking at Dolby Atmos, I have vaulted ceilings, right, and they're angled. So my biggest concern is, man, if I get this, am I really going to get the Atmos effect, or am I kind of wasting my money on this? And I'm sure a lot of viewers are out there right now thinking the same thing, like, I have really high ceilings, they're vaulted, am I really going to get anything out of Atmos? What do you think?
Well, it's better to have it than don't have it, to be honest with you, bro, because like at least you are be able to enable it if you need it. You know, that's a good thing to have, especially, you know, when you're first starting out with, you know, surround sounds, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I have vaulted ceilings, are these really going to affect? But you know, the thing is you still have the speaker that actually does the Dolby Atmos. So I would definitely keep them. That's a keeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my personal experience too is I've had the Arc since it's been out, and I can tell a difference. I'm sure if I didn't have vaulted ceilings, I probably would get a lot more out of that Atmos effect, but I could still hear the upward firing drivers, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the important thing to note, is that even if you're hesitant out there and you're like, man, I don't want to waste my money on getting the Arc SL or the 300s because I don't know if I'm going to be able to take advantage of the Atmos, you're going to take advantage of it.
Always get the better stuff and not just waste your money on something that's kind of older and you're like, oh man, I wish I had Atmos. Now you have it.
Whenever you set up your home theater surround sound system for Sonos, you actually have another option that pops up. And you'll notice that you're going to have, by default, the surround sound speakers that you chose in your home theater are going to be defaulted to ambient mode. What that basically means is that in your music playback, your soundbar is going to have the higher volume for the playback.
Gotcha.
Your surrounds are going to be ambient, meaning they're going to be like subtle. Like you'll hear something coming out of there, but it's not going to be super loud.
Super loud.
Now, if you change this to full, that means you're going to have equal volume with your soundbar and your surround sounds.
That's good to know.
During music playback. That has nothing to do with the home theater playback. When you do home theater playback, your surround sounds should be at a lesser volume than your soundbar, right? Like you don't want your rears to be louder than your soundbar. All right, Ralph. Well, I think it's now time for some final thoughts.
Absolutely. Okay, so how are you using your Sonos products?
Yeah, man. So I actually have 2 home theater setups. So my main home theater, and a lot of you have probably seen it from previous videos, I have an Arc SL. That's a non-mic version. I also have Sonos Sub Gen 2. That's connected to it. And then for my surrounds, I actually have the Sonos Play 1s.
Nice.
I am planning, after the new year, on upgrading those to the Era 300s.
Nice.
I want to take advantage of the full Dolby Atmos And I just feel like if I went with the Era 100s or something else, that I would always have that like, man, I'm definitely missing something.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So like you said earlier, if you're gonna get the best, you might as well get the best. In my game room, I have the Sonos Play Bass, which I got a really good deal. We talked about this in an older video. And I knew I was missing something, right? Like I mostly use that for gaming. I just got the PS5. That was an early Christmas present for me. And it is. You do feel like you're missing something when you don't have surround sound. So I decided, just because of what made the most sense for this room, because my kids are also in here, they're playing, and we have a bunch of stuff that's in here, I actually went with those Symfonisk picture frames. And to me, it was like the poor man version of getting in-wall speakers, because I didn't want to go through the route of putting holes in the wall and having a professional installer run wires through the ceiling and everything else. These look great. I know what's nice about these too is you can actually purchase additional picture frames for them. I would say the one thing though that caught me off guard when I first got them, I don't know why, is they were a lot bigger than I thought they were going to be. They're pretty big speakers, and
they are.
And for surrounds, they actually work great, and they sounded fantastic. I think it's perfect for this type of setup. So maybe some of you may get inspired for these speakers.
Hey bro, you forgot to mention something in the video.
What's that?
The Sonos 5.
Oh man, the Sonos 5. You can most certainly use Sonos 5s as your surround sound, unless you have a humongous room where you can get the most out of those speakers in music playback, where you're not using ambient mode. So I just feel like the 5s are kind of overkill in that environment, and you're not really using them in the capacity that they were meant to be. If you're looking at surround sounds, bottom line is the Era 300s are the best ones out there. If you need a runner up, you got to go with the Era 100s. All right, Ralph, but I think that concludes our video.
Absolutely, bro. So make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification button.
And as always, keep it hi-fi.